for permission to quantum leap the world in all life forms on all planes and dimensions, seen and unseen, connected with planet Earth, to let us go beyond our known potential into the greatest unknown golden age the universes and worlds and all planets have ever experienced.
Kathy teaches the spiritual truth so that you may create a better life and be able to make positive changes for yourself and for the planet. She helps us remember that we are not powerless, but very creative spiritual beings having an Earth experience. Time to quantum leap into the age of divine enlightenment and let Kathy provide you with the tools of knowledge you need to awaken spiritually. That's the Quantum Leap Show. Let Light Unite every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern on Revolution Radio, Studio B.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
On the go? Still want to listen? Don't have one of those fancy phones with too many buttons. Don't know what an app is? Or you don't even care? Well, we got you here at Revolution Radio. Now you can dial in 24/7 to listen to our shows. We have a number for Studio A and Studio B, and best of all, it's free. Don't forget, your carrier charges for your cell phone provider may apply, though, so check with your cell provider to make sure. So ready? Here you go. Get a pen. Here's the number. Studio A is 712-432-6958, and Studio B is 716-748-0112. Thank you very much for listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station in the world. The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Good afternoon. This is Debbie West on Lost Knowledge. Hi, Michael. Are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, and I hear that we have Christine connected too. So let me just introduce our guest for today. We're here on Lost Knowledge today with Christine Day, who is the author of 2 best-selling books about the Pleiadian, titled Pleiadian Principles for Living, A Guide to Assessing Dimensional Energies, Communicating with the Pleiadians, and Navigating These Changing Times, and also Pleiadians' Initiations of Light. She brings forth messages from the Pleiadians through broadcasts, webinars, lectures, and classes that are attended by large audiences of people worldwide who are awakening to the divine aspects of self in this intense time of dimensional shift. Christine is much more than a healer or an author. She anchors the interdimensional energies of light here on the earth plane, helps us remove energetic blocks, and bridges the communication channel between us and the other dimensional life force energies here to support us in our evolution. So, Christine, it is with amazing honor that I welcome you to Lost Knowledge Show today, and we're just really excited to have you as our guest again.
Well, thanks, Debbie. It's just fabulous to be on the show, and it's so nice to hear your voice again.
Yes. So you have been so busy over the last few months, and I want to give you a chance in the beginning of the show to talk a little bit about the Galactic series that you have been doing and that I've been also attending. Can you tell people about that, and also is it possible for people who just are hearing about it now to join the webinars?
Absolutely. We actually have it all the audio files are online, so people can even buy the Galactic series and start working with it class by class. So that's how we've designed it, because there's so many people that heard about it after it started that wanted to be part of that series. And it's a very important series for so many people that we have people accessing the classes even now. And we're actually about to do the Class 6 tonight, which is very exciting, and then we have a 7th class and the Galactic series finishes, but it's available for everybody in the store on the website. for anyone who feels.
So what would you say that you're teaching in that series? Because it is a new one and it's pretty unique.
Well, it's really a direct experience, not so much me teaching, but being a facilitator to bring in the channeled initiations from the Pleiadians. They've been teaching me how to construct this communication portal, and so I have spent the last 2 years building 11 different dimensional levels of this communication portal here in Grand Marais on our land, which is right on Lake Superior. And it just happens to be, no coincidences of course, a mile out directly from that portal on our land is a Lemurian portal that has opened up and interacts with that communication portal. So, I've been channeling this information and my guidance, and then the Pleiadians and the galactic community and the Lemurians are working through me in the galactic series to bring different processes through for people to begin to align to the communication portal and begin to work in telepathic communion with the galactic community. And so I thought the communication portal was just as a portal for communication, but it's become more of a receiving station where you can receive and transmit out, and it also awakens you to your pure source connection through initiations inside the communication portal. So it's become much more, Debbie, than I first imagined it would be at this time.
So the Galactic Series is available on Christine's website, Christine Day Online, and for anybody that feels, that now is the time for them to take this next step, please go on her website and join in the webinar that's tonight. I don't think you could get on that one tonight live, but you could get it once it is recorded. Isn't that right, Christine?
Yes, what they'll do is sign up for the six classes. One's free, and it's really, great price. It's a great price to make it available to anyone who wants to be part of it. You can pay $19.99 for one class to see if it feels right for you, but you can have all 7 classes for the $99. And the fact is, you want to start with the first class because in each class you get homework, and you get the portal templates, which play a major role in the class itself. So you get your templates before the class, you work with the templates which transmit sacred frequencies that give you entry into the communication portal. And then with each class you get a new portal template that adds to the collective energy and births you. You're actually birthing or being rebirthed, recalibrated through your system with each class. And each class builds on the last one. So it's a very powerful and very empowering process. And so, yes, you would have to start with class 1 and work your way up. But, it's really lovely. The homework's there that you do. We have questions and answers that are sent to you after each class where all the answers are given. So it's a really, really kind of comprehensive process that is really in-depth, and you can really go through an incredible recalibration process and birthing process.
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely incredible, and I think for anybody that has an interest, just go and experience the first class and see, because it's an interactive class where you're the participant. It's all about you. It's all about your process. Christine facilitates it beautifully, and the sacred sounds and the codes are just a beautiful blend that can, that can activate parts of you that have been dormant for so long. So having attended the classes and redone them, they only take about an hour. So the class itself, sort of sits with you and develops itself over time, and you go at your own pace. It's wonderful. So anyway, just wanted to mention that up front. You've also been in Brazil, Christine, doing a lot of work there, and I'm curious, can you share with us what you're doing in Brazil and sort of, how they're receiving the Pleiadian teachings there?
You know, I've been going to Brazil through guidance for the last 12 years, and in those 12 years I've been there 9 to 10 months in the year. It's been a huge undertaking and a great commitment by me, but a very important part of my mission. So until the last 2 years, and now I'm going only 3 months a year. But the Brazilian people are incredibly open to the Pleiadians. They're very much connected to the extraterrestrials. They have a much more open an open perspective about the extraterrestrials. And so I've been really received there incredibly well, doing all sorts of different live events with the general public, what I call transmissions, in big theaters where I work with 2,000 to 3,000 people at a time and do a live transmission out in an evening setting, which has been incredibly supportive for them. And then I've also been working with groups of people doing 3-day Pleiadian seminars and then teaching the frequencies of brilliance, which is that healing modality the Pleiadians transmitted to me many, many years ago. So, you know, the Pleiadians, the activity with the Pleiadians and the galactic energies in Brazil is very high. And, you know, the people themselves are transforming very rapidly through the Pleiadian initiations. It's been incredibly well received there.
So for those listening that aren't sure what we're talking about, who are the Pleiadians and what is their mission here on Earth?
Well, you know, that's a good question, Deb, because a lot of people don't know. And I'd like to get down to the real basic, you know, understanding that when I first had my first direct experience with the Pleiadians, I didn't even believe in aliens or spaceships, so it was a huge shock. But the Pleiadians are from the Seven Sisters, that star system, that starburst seeds system. The Seven Sisters is called the Pleiades. And they are from an evolved consciousness of a fifth dimensional level of unconditional love. So they really have moved past the third dimensional illusion that we are working with still here on the Earth plane. And they are here on this planet to support us in our transition of moving from a third dimensional consciousness to an awakened state of a fourth, fifth dimensional consciousness. Now people say, well, what's in it for the Pleiadians? Why are they here? Well, part of, you know, like any of us here on this Earth plane, we each have a mission, something we have said yes to being a part of. Well, the Pleiadians, in their incarnation, they're not spirit form. It's really important to understand they are living out an incarnation from their planet, and they have pre-agreed, part of their mission of their lifetime is to come and support planet Earth in the transition. Now, many of them are here helping energetically, anchoring grid lines. Many of them are channeling through people like myself. I have a Pleiadian aspect within me, but I am being worked with and aligned with the Pleiadian family of light, and they are constantly working with me and hundreds and thousands of other people to bring these initiations, these light initiations in. Now, the light initiations themselves are to awaken you and bring you back to align to your own pure source connection of your higher self. The Pleiadians are not interested in taking over anybody's body. They are simply opening an energetic opportunity for you to come back to a place of remembering who you are, and they kind of hold an energetic womb around you in order for you to birth back into that, some of those aspects of your light through the cells of your body. They're also here to give a lot of guidance and understanding of this time, and that's what I do a lot of channeling about, is educating people about this time and what it is they need to do for themselves. So the Pleiadians bring a lot of self-empowerment here for us as human beings.
So some people have said that these Pleiadians could be time travelers.
Well, they're much more than time travelers. For a start, just open to the concept that there is no such thing as time. And so there's an energetic dimensional setting where you can move back to what we would call the past or forward to the future. They absolutely have mastered the energy of moving through the universe quickly. And they are very much into multiplexing, and in that multiplexing, they are able to function in many different dimensional states at the same time, which is a natural state of being. And it's even a natural state for us to be that way when we move out of our third dimensional state, that illusion, and move into the fourth, fifth dimensional energy. And I know a lot about that because I've achieved those states for a long time now. So I understand how they're very much a natural part of all of us when we start aligning back to our true natures, our spiritual natures.
Right. And so one of the things that you talk about is during this shift, which actually you refer to as the biggest and momentous shift in the history of humankind, the shift that's taking place on the earth plane, you say that we can consciously choose to let go of our third dimensional attachment. And can you explain a little bit about that? Because I think for now, for most humans beings, that is probably, the letting go is probably one of the most difficult parts of this journey.
Yes, for the human being, we love to hold on. We love to hold on to the past and what happened and what we did or didn't do, to, a lot of things. We hang on. And that is part of that third dimensional illusion that keeps us anchored into holding on. And the fact is, we've come here to this earth plane and we've said yes to being here at this time to have the human experience. But we have also said yes to being here at this time and move through this transition of transforming from our just feeling our humanness to starting to open and align and have a direct experience of our sacred natures, that pure source energy of our higher selves. Now, the letting go, as a human being, we have hung on for lifetimes to lots of things. But the fact is, the Pleiadians put it very simply, and I really love the way they put things. They say as a human being, we're perfectly imperfect. It's impossible for any one of us here to do things perfectly. We've come here to have a series of experiences in order to learn. And what they say is that, yes, we have the experiences, we have them, but we hold on. Once you've had the experience, they say it's important then to let go of that experience, knowing that you've come here to have that, to learn, and to move on from that, not to hold on tight like we do as human beings, to just holding on. And in that holding on, we limit ourselves. We actually spend more time in the past or worrying about the future than being in the moment where the real magic exists, where our sacred natures exist, where we can start to have a direct experience of joy, and so the Pleiadians are bringing in the message, because we've had some really illusion messages like, in order to be enlightened, you have to be perfect. And the Pleiadians say, in order to be enlightened, we have to come into self-acceptance. Self-acceptance of our vulnerabilities, of our imperfections, of our humanness. We have to start accepting our idiosyncrasies and our vulnerabilities and our bad habits and whatever else that we are, and embrace ourselves as we are in the moment. They say there's nothing we have to change in order to be enlightened about ourselves. We are perfectly imperfect in the moment, but what we do need to do is to come into this state of self-acceptance.
So one of the things you mentioned, Christine, because a lot of people hold on to spiritual rituals and attachments to how they in the past were contacted by their guides or their, how they did their work. A lot of the people who are doing a lot of work right now have already established a practice. And I think I've heard you say that you need to let go of all of that.
The Pleiadians are asking us all at this time to let go of everything we think we know, everything we think we are. It's in our way. Spiritual practice is even in our way because it limits us to who we really are. And they say if we can be willing to even let go of the truths that we think we know and understand, knowing that if they are truly truths, they will always come back to us. But we're being asked to let go of the need to be right, and that we hold. The human has a huge need to be right, and they set about trying to prove that they're right constantly, or that because they're afraid of not being loved, not being good enough. So they're pursuing being right. And even the need to understand, Debbie, the Pleiadians say it's totally overrated, the need to understand. It keeps us in a locked position. The things we think we know keep us in a locked position, in a limited space of being. So if we'd be willing to just let go and just allow ourselves to be in the moment and let go of everything and just open a blank canvas about ourselves, we would be able to move much more quickly and start really opening into a true awareness of our majesty, of our beingness, of our unlimited selves. And so that's what they're really putting the call out for all of that. And it takes courage because, you know what, there's comfort in being the same, of hanging on to what you think you know, and almost feeling righteous about, I meditate, I do this, I do that. It keeps you in a locked persona, and you don't truly see all of yourself or experience all of yourself.
Christine,
sorry, Michael, go ahead.
Just a question. Christine, once they've gotten to this point of the blank canvas, how do they acquire the information that guides them from there?
That's a great question. Thank you. Once you hit that blank canvas, through that nothingness, everything is accessed. Automatically, you're out of separation because you're no longer identifying with something else. You're simply being. And in that state of being, that's when the doors open and you align back to that abundance of your own spiritual nature. And it just simply, all the information, all the understanding is there. You just are that, and you become that information, that understanding. And so you move and move into a whole different realm of experience. And I don't know if I've shared with you, Deborah, I had a very big awakening between June and the end of October this year. And I was taken off planet for 9 hours and moved into the higher realms where I have never been before, into this higher authority of energy. And it's there that I got to see on another level and directly experience, not see, just be, and have this incredible experience of what I'm speaking about now. And it shifted me tremendously. When I came back to planet Earth, I didn't recognize anything about myself. And so I understand things on a different level now. And I see the energy. I guess I returned back to that blank canvas in its fullest state, and I've really been carrying that energy, that connection, reconnection to myself since that. But that blank canvas state where you're willing just to be, to let it all fall away and just be, is liberating.
Does the information come from within you or from outside of you, or in both ways? In other words, do life situations become a part of that blank canvas?
Everything exists like you are the center of the universe. It's what the Pleiadians call the home space, that blank canvas moves you directly into what they call the home space, where you are fully aligned to the pure source energy of yourself. There's nothing in the way anymore. Everything has fallen away. The illusion doesn't exist there anymore. It's gone. And so you operate from that space, that central space, like you are the center of the universe. And then as you move through your life, we're still human beings having this experience in life. But what I have experienced is I move into my life experience, my day-to-day living, in a whole different way, where I see and understand things in the moment as they happen in such a way that I'm continually rebirthed and liberated in the same moment, where I see things on such a different element and understand them. Everything comes down to a very simple form in each moment, in each experience. And yet I'm shopping or I'm washing the dishes. But in that moment, I'm understanding deep truths about myself, about what is right in front of me and who I am, and the energetic play out between me and the rest of the universe as I move through the day. That is what my direct experience is, and I speak from direct experience here.
So, Christine, it sounds like you're talking about living as a fully conscious, multidimensional being.
That's the truth. That's the truth. And, I wondered how I could even function. When this happened to me, I was at home by myself for 2 weeks. Elisa had gone away to work. And I couldn't have been with any other human being in those 2 weeks. I couldn't eat for 2 weeks. I was in an integrated phase when I first came back from my time off planet. And then when Elisa did come home, I wasn't functioning. I continued to accelerate in my awakening state right through to the end of October. It was like I thought where I reached, I thought I would plateau out. I didn't plateau out. I just kept moving and unfolding in that. So that is where I find myself now. I'm more settled with it, but I still have not returned back to that person who left, which is a good thing.
Which is good, right? We're all trying to catch up with you, Christine. We're chasing you. So one of the things that you talk a lot about is the lifting of the veils. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, let me just talk about it. If someone hasn't heard about it, that what the Pleiadians first gave me the picture of was, with the lifting of the veils, it's like sitting in a theater and the curtain goes up on stage and you see what's behind it. You see the stage, the setting. And the Pleiadians have talked about the lifting of the veils. It started June 16th this year and is going right through to December 29th this year. The veils have been lifting every 3 weeks right up to November 1st, and in November 1st they started to lift they're lifting every 2 weeks right through to December 29th. Now let's talk about what that means. The Pleiadians say when the veils lift, and they only lift for 10 seconds at a time, and you think, 10 seconds, what can you do in 10 seconds? Except that 1 second, when you're in the moment, is unlimited in time. There's no such, the second can last forever when you're out of separation and connecting into that moment. So when the veils lift for 10 seconds, it's an opportunity where you awaken from the dream. Now, the Pleiadians call the dream is this third-dimensional reality that we have been living in for lifetimes. But in that 10 seconds, you have an opportunity to awaken from the dream and align and remember that sacred aspect of yourself, that 4th, 5th, 6th dimensional pure source connection of your higher self. So, for 10 seconds, and this is a cumulative, it's like when you've had a dream at night and you wake up and suddenly go, oh my gosh, I was only dreaming. the Pleiadians say that is what is going to happen on this earth plane at a certain point to everybody. People are going to just wake up and realize, oh my gosh, that was the dream. I've been living that dream, and they remember who they are. That is what's going to take place. But they've got this energy that's been set up since June that has really created an acceleration of awakening for those of us who are on the spiritual path, who are awake and doing their work. It's affecting everyone who's on the spiritual path. There's so many people I know who have just been in this acceleration since June. They don't understand why, but it's because of the lifting of the veils. And since November 1st, those veils lift every 2 weeks, but there's an intensification. When the veils lift, those 10 seconds are much more intensive and expanded for those of us awake leading into the end of the year, into the new year, because we have a huge shift of consciousness, a dimensional anchoring taking place around the first of the year. So that's what the lifting of the veils is. Now, when I talk about lifting for 10 seconds, when I say, well, that's a long time, when you move out of the illusion of the third dimension and align just to the moment, that moment becomes multi-dimensional and can expand. And you can keep expanding and expanding and expanding into one moment of time. And this is 10 of those moments, 10 seconds. So the lifting of the veils is creating a huge impact right now on the earth plane. So maybe you could ask some questions if you need to on that.
Well, I assume that I think you're trained in hypnosis, and you know when we do past lives, that brief moment in time that you open up the soul, afterwards the person has a tremendous amount more memory than what we covered in that little split time.
Exactly. It's where there is no time, and time doesn't exist. So it's exactly that. When you enter the true fourth, fifth dimensional settings energetically, it's an unlimited space. You can have an hour experience and come back, and guess what? No time has passed. And this is part of what people would call time travel, but it's not. It's just reality on the fourth, fifth, upwards, all those higher dimensional levels.
Do you have a destination for that 10 seconds?
That's a very good question. You know, there's an unlimited potential of destination within those 10 seconds. And so when you reach for them consciously, that accelerates the potential of that 10 seconds for you. So what I'm encouraging people to do is to reach out for it consciously. Now, the Pleiadians give specific dates, and at first I was following those, and then I realized the Pleiadians have no concept of time. So they may say the 1st of November, and I would say, okay, it could be the 1st or 2nd of November because they are off on their timing. So you don't have to know specifically when it's going to happen. You just reach out for it consciously, maybe the day before, maybe the 30th of November, October or something, and ask to be aligned with your intention to work within those 10 seconds when the veil's left. And you will be moved because of what you are putting out. You will be moved directly into that alignment. And so I'm sharing that with a lot of people and supporting a lot of people to do exactly that.
Does this come through dream state or through waking state or when a person's in a relaxed
Well,
state?
if you're asleep, it's going to come in your dream state. But no, it's in the wakened state. Absolutely. And what I did was, you know, the Pleiadians gave me recipes that would support people in utilizing that lifting of the veil's time to its fullest capacity. And I've done some of those in the live video broadcasts on our website to support people and support as many people as possible to be utilizing this time frame and these energies, because it's very essential for a lot of us in accelerating our awakening at this time for the new year.
So, Christine, can you talk a little bit about our crystalline structure and the activation that's taking place there?
Yeah, that's a really, again, you know, on 11/11/11, we all received a crystalline structure in our bodies. It wasn't activated, but every human being on this earth plane received the crystalline structure.
And what is that? Well, what is a crystalline structure?
All right, the crystalline structure is what is going to, it's what's going to make it possible for us to be able to hold the full frequency of our pure light source in this physical body. You know, years before, the Pleiadians had spoken to me about our awakening and how we'd be carrying all this pure source frequency within us, that we would no longer have it outside ourselves, but it would be housed completely within us. And I'm thinking, well, how on earth could that happen? Because of the systems we have, how could we carry that high frequency of electrical light that we are? Then on 11/11/11, Pleiadians announced the anchoring of this crystalline structure through the body. Now it's through the space between the cells. That's where it is. It's holding in the space between the cells. And the crystalline energy that has come into us supports us in being able to really transform our systems electrically so we can carry this high frequency of our electrical light. And it runs through the heart space, so the heart becomes a natural receiving station. It's in the thyroid, so the thyroid's role is changing from a thyroid action. It holds the divine factor of our pure source connection. It also runs through the spinal column, and that's the Godhead energy when it's activated through the spinal column. So, and it's in the brain, which activates or reactivates and our potential for telepathic communication and communion, and opens up the receptors in the brain. So when these sites are active, when this crystalline structure becomes activated, then all of these systems within the body transform, and we can actually carry the full pure source electrical frequency of our awakened systems, our light. So that is the crystalline structure. Now, for those of us not awake, they have dormant crystalline structures right now. As the dimensional energy is shifting on the planet, the dormant crystalline structures that were put in on 11/11/11 begin to respond to the change in the dimensional energy on the earth plane and begin to open. They begin to activate slightly. For those of us on the spiritual path, on 12/12/12, everyone's crystalline structure became active at that time. Those of us that were consciously receiving the waves of illuminated energy that was coming onto the planet at that time on 12/12/12. And it started on midnight and went all the way through to 6 in the morning, that actual illumination energy. And so as this planet transforms, there's going to be a moment when the third dimension will shift completely. The fourth, fifth dimensional energy will open up. Those who are not on the spiritual path will awaken from the dream and remember who they are. And they're going to be able to cope with the changing energy because of their crystalline structure. They've got to have a crystalline structure within their bodies to be able to stay here and fulfill the mission, because everyone here has said yes to being here, and fulfilling an aspect of that mission is part of that process.
And is this affecting all the life force energies on Earth, not just the human beings?
Well, absolutely. You'll notice that the natural forces are playing a much greater role interacting with us as human beings because of the crystalline structure that's within us. It means our abilities to telepathically open and be able to work with the natural forces more intimately, more openly, more consciously is taking place right now. And the natural forces themselves are playing a greater role in our integration of these new energies that are moving through us. We're being recalibrated energetically as we move closer and closer, especially with the lifting of the veils, as we move closer and closer to the end of this year. We're being prepared energetically to be able to hold a higher frequency generally and be able to manage being here with that higher dimensional frequency on our earth plane. But
and what about the ones who are being born now, the newly incarnated?
The new ones coming in are being born with a full crystalline structure and activated, so that they are really carrying this frequency already.
Sounds good. So, and what role, yeah, awesome. What role has the Pleiadians been playing in the activation of the new species that's entering now?
Well, you know, there's from what they've said to me is that the new generation that's coming in now, there's usually a veil that comes down at birth, and that is not taking place anymore energetically. The children that are being born right now are remaining connected to a higher frequency of their senses. Ours close off at birth, but theirs are not closing off. So we're a whole new level, a generation of humans are being born that are much more intact energetically than we were.
We've been talking a little bit about autism and some of the other emotional disorders that have just taken off over the last particularly five years or so. Does that have anything to do with this frequency and the energetic body that they're coming in?
Yeah, you need to understand that the autistic child is carrying a frequency that is needed here on the earth plane right now. They have pre-agreed to come in this way to help and assist with the higher energies and anchoring and carrying this frequency on the earth plane. We as humans label them a certain way, but they actually are carrying a much higher frequency of light, and on one level they're operating off planet as well as on planet. So, and you know, I know as human beings we see an autistic child, and it's a tragedy for some families. They see it that way, but it's really not the way it appears at all third dimensionally. It's very, very different than we can perceive it from the third dimensional
What's the role of these? What's the role of these autistic children?
The role is to bring a frequency of love, a certain level of love that is rare on this earth plane, and they transmit it outwards. That's part of it. They're also energetic transmitters, and when I say that, their consciousness connects to the higher realms, and they are specifically almost like creating an awareness with a new frequency of love that is to come onto the planet as we move, but they carry that frequency that has not been on this earth plane up to this time. It's what the Pleiadians call the true frequency of love that doesn't exist in other human beings. It's something we are unfamiliar with, this frequency of love. And it comes from the fifth, sixth dimensional levels. And so this element is supporting tremendously the transitional energies here and supporting I'm just trying to get the word out. The Pleiadians are giving me a concept here, and I'm trying to get the human language together to give it to you accurately. It's almost like they are the forerunners that carry who we will be in the future within that frequency.
Have you been able to feel that frequency?
Can you say that again?
Have you been able to access the same frequency that these autistic children feel?
Yes, I have. And what has taken place with my accessing of those frequencies is this new level of energy or energetic authority that I am carrying now that is changing my work and has brought me in a very deep alignment to the Christ energy in a very different level. I have been working with the Christ energy for a number of years, but my whole work, my whole alignment with the Christ energy has transformed. There is kind of like no separation between that frequency and myself on many, many levels. So I am operating on a very different element now.
So Christine, since we brought that up, can you talk about the resurrection imprint?
Yes, I think this is really an important energy that I'm bringing to the earth plane now, and it's happened since, I had another, it was a continual awakening, but it started anchoring and really anchoring through me mid-August. And it was when I continued to unfold in this awakening, and I'm carrying what the Christ energy calls a self-resurrection imprint. And the Christ energy moves through me, and I transmit this imprint of really, it's really very, very pure space that is imprinted into the individual. And I'm doing it with huge audiences in Brazil. I started doing it with, in all the transmissions there. I had 4 nights of transmissions in a row in different big cities in Brazil. And that's where it started. And the Christ energy came in, and these imprints, resurrection imprints, came through me and out to everyone in the audience. We're talking about 2,000 or 3,000 people. And it's designed to start breaking down the third-dimensional hold, the illusion hold that we've been carrying with us and moving through all elements of the body. And it's really a profound imprint because it continues to unfold and birth through the individual long after they've received it. And, I didn't know what the impact would be, but then I was working a couple of weeks later after transmitting these imprints, and the feedback the organizers were getting in all the major cities from the people who attended the transmissions was amazing. There was tremendous results of self-healing, of really transformation, deep transformation of just change, of relief, of struggles, feeling like the struggles had left them, that they were no longer afraid. There was a lot of wonderful feedback, which is always good to get, because when you're working with something new, it's, got to trust, which I do trust.
Christine, there's a book out called Anna, Grandmother of Jesus, and in that they talk in great detail about the Pleiadian influence on the birth and resurrection and the life of Christ here on this planet. Can you talk a little bit about their influence 2,000 years ago and bringing that energy here at that time?
I can. As you know, I think, Debbie, that, I first came in connection with Jesus Christ in Galilee, in Israel. And, I had connected, of course, with the Pleiadians well before that, but it was in Israel, and I used to go there and spend 6 months a year there working for probably 12 years. And I came to understand the teachings of Jesus Christ, not through the church, but directly from Jesus Christ. And he would spend many hours walking with me and teaching me about the love and the energy of him and the Pleiadians working together, and Mother Mary also was involved in that. And the incredible impact that the Pleiadians have had on the earth plane, working with Jesus Christ, Mother Mary, working through the pyramids. They were the ones that created the pyramids in Egypt and have been involved and responsible for the crop circles throughout the ages and the major megalith sites on the planet. So they have been instrumental in anchoring these sacred sites and all the crop circles and working with the masters for thousands of years here. And it's hard to believe, but it's also been directed for this time. You know, it's like the universe has been working for us to be here at this moment in this position of transformation. And the Pleiadians have played a pivotal role in that, and they play a pivotal role right now. So they have been incredibly influential in bringing these frequencies of understanding and knowledge for us to recollect, not for anything else, for us to recollect and remember who we are.
Are the Pleiadian teachings part of the Athene message that was brought to the planet?
Yes, they are a part of that. Remember, the Pleiadians are a group who are a part of the universal community, and they're part of a team. There's a universal community team that the Pleiadians are very much a part. So they play their role, and everyone else plays their role. So there's this synergy of light, of consciousness, that is all part of the collective energies. And that collective energies, like the Galactic Council, they oversee that collective energy. They oversee, and when you think of a council, you think, well, they're giving orders. No, they're not giving orders. They're monitoring the energies and supporting us and supporting the rest of the universe at this time. So there's a lot of, lot going on here.
Certainly is. We have so many things to cover. So the one thing that I want to talk a bit about is telepathic communication, because I understand that all these life force groups that you're talking about all over the universe communicate telepathically, with the exception of humans. Why is that, and is that about to change? I think I heard you say it will change soon.
Yes, the rest of the universal community within the universe all work through telepathic communication. And so we are the last energetic group, and that's what they call life force energetic groups, within the universe that is not working through telepathic communication, and that is going to change. And then we can take our rightful place within the universe. That's why all eyes are on planet Earth right now, because we are going through this transition, and we are actually the first group, life force energy groups, to transition this way in consciousness. Instead of leaving our bodies and moving back to our spiritual reconnection, this lifetime we will learn about who we are and reconnect to our life force pure source connections in this incarnation. And when we return back to the collective energy, we will assume our rightful place in the universe. You see, we see ourselves as limited, but the rest of the universe sees all our unlimited potential of who we are. They don't see the small third-dimensional human consciousness. They see us in our full grandeur, so to speak. And we are required to take our places, to take our part and play our roles out with the universal community. So we are moving back to our telepathic communion potential, and that is part of the crystalline energy in the brain that reopens and reactivates the telepathic center. And the Pleiadians are putting out a lot of energies as part of some of my work is opening up the telepathic centers and recalibrating the systems through the Pleiadian initiations for many of us to move back into that telepathy now. Not all of us.
How did we lose it?
I'm sorry?
How did we lose this ability?
Well, we forgot. The veils came down, and we were meant to come in forgetting everything. We were meant to start our incarnation here just in a very limited way, just in our third-dimensional natures. And then at this time, it's a time for us to reawaken. That was part of the design, was that we would always reawaken at this time. So it was part of the agreement. We came in not knowing, and we're moving through into a place of remembering. That's how it always was planned that it would happen in this way. So the fact is that our natural state is telepathic abilities. My telepathic abilities have fully opened up.
We're going to have to go to break. We'll take about a 3-minute break and be back for our second part of today's show, Lost Knowledge with Christine Day, the Pleiadian Ambassador. We'll be right back. Good afternoon. We are here today on Lost Knowledge with Christine Day. Christine is the author of Pleiadian Principles for Living, a guide to assessing dimensional energies, communicating with the Pleiadians, and navigating these changing times. In this book, Christine includes a free audio companion download that helps you chapter by chapter, step by step, with activating your own energy patterns and rebirthing and realignment to your higher self and the new energetic crystalline structures. So I encourage people to purchase this book by Christine Day, also author of Pleiadian Initiations of Light. And she also has the Galactic Series, which is ongoing right now, available through her website, ChristineDayOnline.com. And these are all ways that we as humans can connect with the Pleiadian energies and use the information that's being transmitted in a beneficial way for us during this great time of shift and evolution on planet Earth. So, Christine, I wanted to talk a little bit more about telepathic communication and what it's, how people can discern between what really is true telepathic communication, how they can sort of manage it if it does happen, because it can be a little bit, sometimes it can disrupt you a little bit when you're, you're asking to communicate, and then it does happen. So how can people sort of mitigate through that, and as they're first starting to wake up to these energies and the telepathic abilities?
Okay, so, many people want this and want that. They want to do the telepathic communication, and then they get kind of the human part of them gets into some anxiety if that does take place. And for me, my experience of telepathic communication is the Pleiadians transmit through thought transference. It's like a loud thought in your mind, I guess, that isn't yours. There's information there that you don't know about, but all the information is there. And so what I would say to people is, your telepathic communication doesn't come through like the ego mind. It has a very different energy to it. And it's very much connected to the fourth, fifth dimensional energy of the heart space. So if you're interested in aligning to telepathic communication, the Pleiadians say the best communication or the level of communication, yes, we can do it between ourselves as human beings, but they strongly recommend that you start telepathically communicating with a higher frequency of being, like the spiritual realms or the Pleiadians. And the fact is that when you get that communication, it does come with an energy, and the energy for me in any sort of telepathic communication has a frequency of love to it. It's like a vibration of peace, of love, that to me, I can't imagine anyone feeling threatened by that energy. It can come as a surprise and a shock, and then your ego mind will start breaking it down into it not actually happening, and that's what it loves to do. The ego mind breaks down anything it does not understand. So what I would say to everybody out there is, if you want to telepathically begin to communicate, understand there's telepathic communication, telepathic communion. These are two different frequencies. The communion energy is much softer and it's clear, but it holds a different energy. It connects to the mutual God consciousness state that we all have within us, and so do the spiritual realms, Pleiadians, anyone that is not in third dimension has that capacity to work in that spiritual communion way. So, you know, if you identify for yourself what it is you need for yourself, as far as what will support you in being able to fully open into the experience without feeling threatened or afraid, the telepathic communion energy is much softer. And I talk about that in the book, Pleiadian Principles for Living, where there are processes where you can follow to go into a telepathic communion experience.
So I wanted to also ask you about free will, because in order for us to communicate on this new level with the higher frequencies, must we ask for their assistance and ask for it to happen?
You know what? What you do have to do is you have to give permission for them to enter your energetic field. They cannot come into your energetic field without that permission. Also understand we have a lot of pre-agreements that each one of us has made for this time in this transition on the earth plane. But even the pre-agreements we made before we came onto this earth plane with certain life force energies, we still have to activate those pre-agreements. You see, we came in with free will as a human being, and that cannot be rescinded. Nobody can come over those boundaries towards you without your permission. So what I would be saying to everyone out there is you need to give your permission for that interaction to take place. You can't just sit there and wait for it. You have to, these days we can't sit back. We have to open up consciously and make the announcement. I open up my permission for these pre-agreements to be activated, for this telepathic communion or communication to take place. So that we do need to open the door. You can't do it with the door closed, and we're the only ones who can open the door.
Is there a concern that when people open the door and they aren't grounded or spiritually motivated in the right direction, that they could take in discarnate energies that would have different messages?
That's a very good question. And what I would say to that is, yes, if you are, you know, it depends. You can attract negative energies if you are not in a balanced state. That's true. But if you are coming from the heart space and opening consciously and anchored within that heart space, that frequency of light does not attract negative energy. Your heart space is a pure space of light that actually will not and cannot draw in the negative connections. So I would say be cautious if you know, there's people out there who are in a depressed, negative state. Those sort of people can attract that energy in. It's true. And so, but if you are in your heart and on the spiritual path, the majority of us on that path can open the space and open up that doorway to that communion energy. And all you have to say to the person is, you have to ask the question, are you of pure source energy? And they must answer you or leave. And that's the fact. That is a truth. That is how the universe operates right now through this earth plane in these changing times. Negative states cannot come in. They cannot attach themselves to you. You just simply need to ask the question, and they have to leave, or they must be of the pure source connection. So be aware of that if you ask the question, they must answer or leave you. And if they are not of pure source energy, of that higher light, they cannot attach themselves to you. So just be aware of that. But you do have to open the door. And it's the time for us to open the door. It's a part of our destiny to reopen the door to this telepathic communion.
I have a little saying that mantra that I repeat to myself many times a day. I am love, I am love, I am love, I am loved, I'm loved, I'm loved. And feeling that in my heart with gratitude, and also the belief that I have a force that goes with me, that opens up that door with positive energy.
Exactly. And it's that positive energy, that frequency of love, that nothing can attach itself to you. Nothing.
Okay, so Christine, though, I want to talk a little bit, just real quick, about earth changes, because the third dimensional illusion right now is going through some of its most turbulent times, I believe, and people are stuck in fear because of mass media, the communication portal that most people use right now, Fox News, MSNBC, whatever. What advice can the Pleiadians give us in order to, mitigate ourselves away from this illusion, this third dimensional human illusion, and grasp onto what you're talking about, which is, the higher realms? And
understand, Debbie, that the higher realms are a natural part of who we are. It's our natural state. The third dimensional illusion is the unnatural state. And that's where we're making that transition. But I do want to talk about the magnification of drama on this earth plane at this time. And the Pleiadians say it's going to increase. So all of you out there have to make a choice. Are you going to be part of the drama or witness the drama? Because we do have choices right now. And the Pleiadians are saying strongly that we need to step aside from being a part of that drama and just witness the illusion. And it's magnifying into ridiculous proportions on so many levels. Now, there's a very simple way, the Pleiadians say, that we can tune in and feel what is true and what is not true. What contains truth and what is just illusion. And the best way to do that is through what they call, and I talked about it before, the home space. It's in the heart. And all you need to do is bring your awareness or touch your heart with the palm of your hand. Bring your awareness there and let yourself just come into that heart space, the home space. It's you consciously choosing something different. So you bring through conscious awareness to the heart space. This is your place of reference where you can really let go and move away from the drama. Bring your hand there. Bring your attention there. Your awareness. Feel the pressure, the warmth of your hand. Come into that real experience of this part of your body. Bring your awareness there. Take a breath. And it will slowly move you in to an alignment where you can then bring whatever you're in the middle of drama with, bring it into the space, and it will either lighten up or it will either lighten up by disappearing. So the intensity of the fear or the struggle will start to go. Or if it's a sort of some truth, the truth will get stronger. But within the heart space, you can easily start to align to the truth, and it will really start to lift off the struggle and that drama feeling of fear, because many people are in fear right now, and the media just feeds us on this fear. They are building the fear for anybody who's willing to be in the middle of it.
So you're essentially teaching an anchor. The tapping of the heart brings you to a different state of mind that opens up that scene for connection.
Exactly, exactly. And what it does is the more you do that, the more quickly you will be in that space. Until after a while, you'll be more in that space than in that drama stuff. You'll be witnessing things and go, whoa, look at that. But you're not engaged in that fear and struggle. You're just simply watching the illusion of it. And more you recognize it as illusion and come into the moment of a truth. It's through that, too, you can build your intuition and start aligning to that automatic telepathic communion energy, because you're starting to access that larger part of yourself, and I mean larger part, natural part of your pure source energy. You're moving out of third dimension and into that fourth, fifth dimensional pure source connection that you are, and it's getting easier and easier as the veils lift to enter and maintain that anchor there.
So, Christine, I want to talk about the universe and all these other dimensions. And earlier, you did mention that, time is also an illusion. So what is a multidimensional universe like?
Well, that's a big question, but it's a good question. It's very fluid, and it's very, when you're in that multidimensional space, you're in your natural multiplexing mode. And what I mean by that is you are unlimited in your energy, in your pure source connection. You're unlimited in what you can achieve. Within one moment, you can be doing many, many tasks. Like at this moment, I am doing thousands of different tasks, working with 1,000 different individuals simultaneously. And my energy is unlimited. So I'm not pulling on any of my energy. I have a rotating energy that builds. So you're linked into that multidimensional aspect of yourself, that multidimensional multiplexing energy that you have to draw from. You're also
and what about all these other life force energies and beings and extraterrestrials? I mean, is there a huge community of them, and are they flying around on spacecrafts, and do they have life on other planets around us? And what does that kind of universe look like?
It's a busy universe. It's multidimensional, and everybody in that universe is multiplexing and incredibly living at a very high potential. They're living to their potential, and they're filled with an understand that there are so many different realms, energetic realms, to continue to unfold into and understand. So it's like there's an unlimited experience to be had out there continually. And so there's a rapid birthing and unfolding within everybody, every individual's existence and coexistence. But there's also a collective energy, a collective consciousness where we're all fully linked into, that we source from. So it's very, I mean, try and put it into human words, of course, is totally inadequate because our language is so inadequate. If I could telepathically commune with you right now, Debbie, I would send it to you and you would get the full concept of it in the most intimate detail, in the most expanded way possible. And the brilliance of it is incredible. Now, of course, I'm still working from what they would consider a limited viewpoint right now, but I can speak of it only from my place of where I am right now, in an understanding of working with a lot of the communities and I am. There's a part of me that is involved in a tremendous number of universal projects with many of the life force energy groups within the universe. And so I'm on my way, but you know, I'm also aware there's a huge realm that I'm totally unaware of at this point, because it's unlimited in the way it functions.
So when you're working with the Pleiadians out by your portal, and the Pleiadian starships come and you go aboard the starship, what is that like?
Well, it's an interesting process of multidimensionality, because the ship itself it's seamless, and so you actually have this view around you that is incredibly multidimensional. You're looking into the different dimensional realms. So you enter those places, those ships, and you're in an incredibly expanded experience of understanding, awakening. You know, so it's not just a third dimensional experience. It's very multidimensional in itself, and incredibly beautiful and pure. So there's a whole dynamic there that we don't even have words for, but it's a very enlightened experience, very much so.
So the Lemurian portal also, which is also in your it's near you, the portal just outside of you.
Physically near me, yes.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it. And what's incredible is it's actually in the area of Lake Superior, which they've kind of in the past called the Devil's Triangle, which only means that there's been a lot of different energetic experiences there that some people in the past would have called paranormal, I guess, or things like that. But what role are the Lemurians playing, and what kind of energy are they sending, and, you know, have they been here since time began on Earth and so on?
Yes, they've been within the universe before the existence of Earth, but they have been within the Earth plane for thousands of years, and they are now coming into an exposed place. Not exposed as far as threatened exposed, but they're moving, they're moving their energies to support the Earth plane and us here on the Earth plane. Part of their role right now is to assist in the integration of the crystalline structure that is activating through our systems. And part of one of their main roles on the Earth plane is supporting us, those of us who are awakening now, to really adjust the recalibration of the systems and help us really manage the changing energies within our physical beings, our physical bodies, that is, and bringing in the information and working very closely with the Pleiadians, especially with this communication portal. But understand, this communication portal is going to become a major receiving station. We're about to open our second portal up. We will be in the spring. And there are 3 portals to be on this land, and it's going to open up to a major receiving station for all the ships to re-enter this dimensional setting. And it's in the Book of Enoch, I believe. It's been written. That there will be a re-entry. And I didn't know anything about this. I had a student of mine who's been studying the Book of Enoch all his life. And when he found out where we were, he said, you are that receiving station. It's been written where your land is exactly where this receiving station is, this re-entry is to take place. And it's been put into that Book of Enoch and written, I don't know how long ago. I don't know the Book of Enoch myself, but he was saying, we are that place. Exactly.
So Enoch was the grandfather of Moses.
Uh-huh.
And Yeah, so I've heard that also, that your portal was shut down, and it is the entry point for reconnection to the Galactic Federation. So that's exciting, I think, right?
Well, yeah, you know, we thought we'd come here and we were kind of going to be a small branch here, but it doesn't appear that way, and we're committed to fulfilling our role. Often the Lemurian portal is open, it's just a mile out in the water, and the whole surface lights up, and there were about 6 Pleiadian ships around it today in readiness for the Galactic series tonight. And, you know, it's just like, it's incredible, the activity around the energy of that portal with the Lemurians and the Pleiadians and the other galactic energies. So I think we're doing important work tonight.
Are there other portals also?
Yes, there are other portals on Lake Superior. One is at East Beaver Bay, and there are others set, 2 or 3 others set. I'm terrible with geography, but I think they're set over in, I don't know if it's on the Canadian side. There's a couple of portals in Lake Superior that will be interacting, that do interact with the portal here and the Lemurian portal. So,
do you think the land brought you there?
Well, I tell you, I never expected to be up here. You know, I was writing my second book and coming down the mountain, and the Pleiadian said, now let us show you your new home. And they said, turn here, turn there, turn there, and they brought us to this land and said this, and the house that was on it was really falling down, and they said, this is where you have to be. And it was like, oh, my goodness.
It's on the edge of nowhere.
It's on the edge of nowhere, and so we put an offer in. Actually, we saw the house the next day, put an offer in immediately. We knew this was the land, and we had to be there. It was part of our pre-agreement. And we moved here a few weeks later in March, and, you know, it's harsh up here in the winters. And, you know, we didn't know how we would survive in the house, but we have survived. It's been nearly 2 years in March since we moved in. But it's been a grand adventure, beyond anything I could have ever imagined. And
you're from Australia, so northern Minnesota is a far cry.
It is. It absolutely is.
But, you know, your Australian heritage is all about the Pleiadian connection and the star charts and the what's being sort of brought to the surface right now in Australia actually is very much Pleiadian in origin. I know you don't follow all the work that other people are doing, but Evan Strong and Valerie Barrow is working with Sai Baba, and, you know, much of the Pleiadian energy from the locals, the Aborigines, they call them the Aborigines. Yeah, it all talks about origin.
You know, I lived with the Aboriginals for 4 months and went and was very much a part of their sacred ceremony. And at that time, I had no idea what I was doing, but, you know, I know that time was incredibly important for me because I worked directly with the Pleiadians in the dreaming energy, and so it was a great gift to be given that time with them. So, yeah, I do understand a lot of what is in Australia, even though I don't live there anymore. I was just recently up in the Blue Mountains going through the caves there, the old Aboriginal sacred ceremonies up in Jenolan Caves, and we went in as a guided tour, but we're the only people, and there was this whole imprinting that took place there from being in that tour. So, you know, I'm still being worked with through the dreaming with the Aboriginals. So it's very
There may be a piece of your puzzle here in the mountains of New Hampshire, too.
Oh, really?
Yes. We have a portal here that's with very ancient connections.
And what are the ancient connections? What do you feel them to be? Do you know?
Well, there's energies, there's people that see the energies see them, they watch the shifts and so forth. I don't see the way other people do, but we have a place that actually opens up the end of October, where you actually can look as if you were looking in the center of the earth. And we have a carving that came off the land that what we call the Odin stone, that looks like it was related to the god of the underworld.
You know, I tune into the energy right here that you're talking about. It's very much a re-entry station too. It feels like the ships are coming and going through that space.
Oh yes, Deb knows.
He lives a few miles away from the Betty and Barney Hill abduction. There's a lot of energy up there. Yeah, lots and lots of energy.
It feels really amazing.
Yeah, I want to. Can I ask one question a little bit different, Deb? Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. In your journeys to Brazil, have you ever had any connections to John of God?
Oh, I know of John of God very much. We work out of Brasilia, which is just a couple of hours out from him, and I spend a lot of time in Brasilia. And you know, I haven't been called to be there, but I do know that he is carrying he channels through an amazing being of light, or a number of them actually, that work with deeply healing into the body, and he does some really amazing work with people.
I mention this because I'm friends with his niece, Rose, who is also a healer from birth, and she's down there with him for a month at the moment, but she also has been up to our center up here and up on the mountain and felt that energy that we talk about.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, John of God is a very, you know, he just carries, when he channels through these amazing beings of light. And you know, a friend of mine has just come back from there, and you know, you receive imprints, energetic imprints from those beings, and then you're to lie down for 24 hours while it moves through you. It sounds really amazing. He works a lot with the crystals too, because there's, you know, Crystallina is right near there. That's a town where there's tremendous amount of crystals everywhere. And so the crystalline energy around there really works with the people who receive from him. So it's a very special place.
I'm sorry to be off topic, Deb. I just
no, anything is the right topic. You know how this goes. Christine, this is just so amazing. The multidimensional universe, the communication portals, the activation of our life force energies, and working with all of these energetic groups. I mean, it's almost like it's an amazing time to be here on Earth. And I think I want you to be able to give people a chance to sort of acknowledge that they are here at a wonderful time. You know, because so much of it we hear about is the negative, what's happening on the Earth, and how I guess how we should be afraid of what's to come. But I think your message is surely, it's of pure joy and hope for what we're about to experience and our reasons for being here.
It really is, and I think, you know, Deborah, I'd say to people out there, you know, there is a lot of an incredible negativity in the media. I don't know who wants to promote fear and create fear, but there's a lot of it going on. And the fact is that each one of us, you know, we're not a leaf in a wind just being blown. We're not victims. And, you know, we have for lifetimes felt that way. And so if everybody out there could really start to consider themselves as a powerful, that each moment has a powerful potential, and that we get to choose how we want to do this. There's a lot of illusion, so that something looks a certain way, but it really isn't. And if you are willing to start just opening up and calling forth your own pure source energy, because it's there for you, with you now. It's hidden in the illusion. But if you want to tap into the heart and just start working and accessing that, and really letting go of everything you're holding on to, and just trust, come back to yourselves, to that central place in the heart. That is where, you know, everything can start to unfold like a flower would to the sun. The sun being your own pure source magnificence. It's there waiting for all of us. It's not something like just words, like for lifetimes we were talking about it being this way or that way, but it's actually waiting for you to open to it, to acknowledge its existence. And in the acknowledgement, you've got nothing to gain, nothing to lose and everything to gain. If you just sit quietly, even 5 minutes a day, and come into the heart space and acknowledge your own pure source energy that's very close to you. It's reachable right now with the veils lifting.
So, Christine, one of the easiest ways for me, anyway, to access this heart space is through your nonverbal communication, the sounds and the language that you use. I don't know if it's a Pleiadian language that you were given as a download or where you received it, but where do you get that sound communication that anchors that?
That's the Pleiadian language, and it's a frequency. It's a frequency that's designed to connect to the pure source connection of each individual. So it actually brings that pure source connection of your higher self into you so that you can access the moment of the peace or the flow or whatever touches you. And it's nonverbal, which is great, and I'll tell you why. Because the ego mind cannot, it bypasses the ego mind, that third dimensional aspect, and allows you to just naturally receive like ripples of energy from your own source, your own pure source. And that is what makes it so potent and really important right now.
So how did that come to you? Was that something that that was brought to you with your teaching?
Yeah, it's like everything. Everything keeps flowing through me. I mean, I'm really like a never-ready battery these days. It's just flowing through the information, the understanding, the knowledge, the clarity, the love, the beingness. It's all, I'm just like an open now. Everything's flowing in. And before that, when it did first come to me, it just started to flow through. It was when I had my first encounter with the Pleiadians, and you know, and I really didn't believe in spaceships or anything or aliens, but I was out in nature, turned that corner, and there was this huge spaceship and the Pleiadians walking towards me, and they telepathically connected to me then, bypassed my ego mind, which would have freaked out, and I remembered everything. They brought me back to my state of full remembering of my pre-agreement with them, my Pleiadian aspect, the truth, the understanding, and it was then that language started flowing through.
How old were you?
I was 37 when that happened. And, you know, from that time on, I mean, a lot of people thought I was crazy, you know, but, you know, I couldn't, you know, I remembered everything, and I just had to then go out in the world and be that, you know, authentically, you know, speak of the Pleiadians, bring the love, and it was so much love coming through me, you know, and it was me. It was part of my authentic Pleiadian nature, and that family, that Pleiadian family that came out of that ship never left my side. And they are still with me today, you know. So, you know, I'm just grateful. I mean, what else can I say?
Well, we're grateful. I mean, it makes a difference for everybody out there that's on this journey to have mentors and have people paving the way. And one of the great mentors I'll just mention was Dolores Cannon, who recently passed on from the Earth plane, and she also did a lot of work with all the life force energies and documented a lot of things for a lot of us who are following in those footsteps. And you're one of those people, Christine, that your brilliance just shines all over the world, all over the planet, all throughout the universe, and really just creates a bridge for all of us to to take those steps. And I'm sure you're getting that kind of reaction from every place you go, everybody that's able to come close to your your light, your energy. And we're so grateful that that you are activated and demonstrating also for people that this incarnation is about action. It's not about sitting around and meditating and sitting around trying to study and be right and to read. It's all about taking action. Isn't that right? I mean, it's all about really getting into the action mode.
It absolutely is now, like never before. We just have conscious choice, and we have to move on that conscious choice, and we have to take back our birthright, take back what's naturally ours, and it's right there. It's not something flimsy here, and that's one of the biggest messages the Pleiadians say. We have conscious choice. We now have to use it. We have to call in our pre-agreements. We have to open up and just let ourselves in.
Well, I mean, because you're a prime example of really letting go of everything. I mean, you took this divine. It's almost like, I hate to compare this, but when the Jesus Christ was being birthed on this planet, I mean, they were following divine guidance. You are following divine guidance. I mean, going to that place up in northern Minnesota and establishing the portal. I mean, the things that you're doing are enormous. The significance and the way that you're following this the guidance that's coming towards you and beacon you towards what you need to be doing. It's amazing. It really, truly is. And aren't you in awe of what she's doing, Michael?
Well, I am, but I got a question for her, which may sound off the beat, but you're so in spiritual form, but you're still in human form. So what do you do in human form that's just fun and enjoying? Keep you grounded there.
What I do is I love to garden. I love to paint, so I've gone back to painting for the first time in 30 years, and I've gone back to gardening for the first time in 30 years, and I love to cook. I'm a great cook. I've gone back to sewing when I have time. Of course, I'm really busy, but you know what? I still make time for these important things, and I'm starting to really enjoy another side of myself in my creativity, which is really important. Understand, I'm a human being still, and that human part of me needs also to be fed. I want to speak a little bit about this because I think it's important. My human part is being supported by my awakened state. That pure source connection that I've re-established fully up to this point is supporting my human self. It's bringing a lot of love, a lot of compassion. So there's a lot of self-love expanding through me for my human vulnerability, a lot more self-acceptance and appreciation for my humanness. And that is really creating a joy, a real balanced joy in my life. And through that joy, I am pursuing, as I said, gardening, sewing, my artwork, my cooking, and my human part's having a much better time. And when I say that, it's really joyful in a new way, a new level of joy. It's almost like my human aspect has moved into a new quality of joy and peace. And I love that because my human part used to suffer quite a lot. I would be in my spiritual thing, and then, but it wasn't devastating, but my human part is much more in alignment these days, and I just appreciate my life so much, the moments of peace and and just being here that I didn't have before. So there's a richer fabric with my human part. And I love that, and I'm appreciating that. It's as though I'm coming into a new, pure balance within my sacredness, my human, than ever before.
That's the key, isn't it? The balance in between divine reality and the reality humans experience on Earth.
Exactly. And that is as sacred a part. It's just as important, an important sacred part as the awakened state. There's got to be the balance and the flow. And I'm experiencing it on a whole new level, and I do love that inclusiveness. We have to include all parts of ourselves, and we cannot forget. This is what the Pleiadians say: we cannot forget our human element. We came here to continue to have a human experience, even with our awakening. There is still the human element that is part of being. Really, that human part is joyful. We need to be joyful about that, and I think that transformation of a relationship with myself, with my human part, is precious to me, and it's something that I didn't know would ever get to this quality, and I very much appreciate that.
And so it's really making the move from being a human being having a spiritual experience to a spiritual being having a human experience.
You're very good with the words, and that is so true. You know, and it brings contentment, deep contentment to me on a level that is indescribable, really. But it makes me appreciate my journey and what I've said yes to. And yes, I have gone with my guidance. I have put myself on the edge many times, but that's been my path. It doesn't mean everyone's path has to be as dramatic as mine, because mine's been intense. You know, near death.
So, Christine, you're a mother. You have grandchildren. You know, like you were saying earlier, it is a push to get, you know, to sometimes to make these changes in yourself, where you're seeing things on a new level of reality, and people are not always there with you and understanding, you know, where you're at and where you're coming from, and it you know, sometimes, like you say, people can think that you are crazy or whatever. What do you say to your granddaughters now? I mean, what do you see for them in terms of the Earth that they're going to experience? Is it going to be the heaven on earth that we've all been anticipating during this age of Aquarius?
I believe there will be a huge change of consciousness and community, and that we will be, the Pleiadians say, we're going to be consciously seeing all extraterrestrials as our neighbors, and we will be having an ongoing open communication and alliances with them. So we won't be looking at countries within Earth plane, but we'll be looking at our community, our universal community. So our whole perspectives will change as we come into remembering. And, you know, my granddaughters are just, you know, I get emotional. I just love them so much. I get very, very, I have very deep connections to my granddaughters. And, you know, they really appreciate what I am doing. They know what I do in the world, and they really, well, I have an incredible loving connection with them. It's easy to have loving connections with granddaughters because, you know, they're not, you can just enjoy them like any grandmother out there would know. And I have deep connections with, you know, 2 out of 3 of my children who totally honor and respect the work I'm doing, and it plays a part in their life. They're very much appreciative of what I bring, without talking about it, just being, you know. I bring the joy. I'm very childlike in lots of ways, and they appreciate that and love me for that. So I don't hide any part of myself with that family of mine who, and one of my children just won't have anything to do with me because he cannot accept what I'm doing. And I have to trust that and know that is his path too. And it doesn't it's painful at times, But, you know, I have to respect and honor where he is and our relationship. The love is still there. I love my son, the one I don't see anymore, as much as I love the other kids. And I trust and acknowledge he's doing what he needs to do. So I move with the flow, and I'm very lucky that I have the family I have that really honors me and receives me in who I am.
So, Christine, we just have a couple more minutes. I want to ask you, what is I mean, it's going to be so exciting to have this experience of first contact and interacting with all of the other life forms, you know, on the planet as our brothers and sisters, and throughout the universe as multidimensional beings. What do you see as the most important thing that we need to know right now? And then just before we close, if you wouldn't mind doing some sound activation for those that are listening, just so that they have something to take with them, that would be great.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to do that. And I think the most important thing right now is to understand that we need to end the separation we have with ourselves. It's about coming back and holding ourselves with love and compassion for everything that we've been through on this earth plane at this time, and understand that our imperfection, to self-acceptance. I think for our humanness is the biggest thing that any one of us can open up to. That will move everybody into opening back to their natural state. So I just leave you with that thought, and I'll just open up and bring some sounds through and some language and bring the frequency of the love that each one of you is at this time. Shatai, she hom dai ne ah, she om, she oh, hey ya, she om dai ne ah. I wish to honor each one of you and all that you are in this moment. So be it.
Thank you so much, Christine Day. Again, her website, Christine's website, is www.christinedayonline.com. The Galactic Series webinars are available. There's one tonight, which you can also access online. Her 2 books are available through Amazon and also on her site, Pleiadian Principles for Living and the Pleiadian Initiations of Light. So thank you so much for being on the show today, Christine. Thank you, Michael, as always. Brilliant guest host. And we are signing off from Lost Knowledge. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Christine.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Debbie. Love you.
revolutionslips.com. And we'll be right back after this message.
Transcending time and space, let us take you to the place inside your mind where thoughts divide and mysteries unwind. Join us every Monday evening right here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And you will catch the Fenton Perspective with our great host, Lorian Fenton. Come listen in as she shares her amazing stories from the past to present, along with all of her guest secrets to the future. That's the Fenton Perspective every Monday evening right here from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Revolution Radio. Oh, and you don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Hi everybody, it's me, the Fetch, host of Inside the Eye Live. Before the Sunday mainstream media political pundit talk shows, there's Inside the Eye Live, where we break down some of the weekly mainstream media talking points before the talking points even get aired. Add in some entertaining stories, weather, cats, intriguing and informative guests, and you get one of the most listened to Saturday morning streaming media political talk shows going today. And it's all right here on our flagship station, Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. So join me, the Fetch, for Inside the Eye Live every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. It is truly intelligent media for the politically aware.
There is no denying the world is awakening. We see it in the global uprisings and demonstrations of the people around the planet and the new way of thinking and living that is arising naturally within each one of us and our communities. I have been a major player in this global shift and movement for over 20 years and have helped tens of thousands of people around the world change their lives and find their voice in order to help create the paradigm change we so desperately need. Join me here at Revolution Radio on the Just Bernard Show every Tuesday at noon Eastern Time for 2 hours of powerful interviews and discussion with some of the most influential visionaries of consciousness, alternative media, and suppressed knowledge. We promise to reveal the real matrix and empower your human experience.